Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's your boy, Mr. Beast, back at it again, and today we are going to be taking a look at footsie characters. These are characters like Jury that like to show off their feet a lot. No way, that's not it. Okay, so hey, what is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be taking a look at footsie characters, and this shouldn't be too long of a video. We're just going to go over what footsies means, what footsies characters look like. You know the drill by now. So what are footsies characters? What is footsies? Let's just get right into it. First of all, 99% of fighting game characters have to play footsies to some degree. They're not all necessarily footsies characters, but a lot of characters have to play footsies and play neutral. What does footsies mean? Let's just get right into the raw definition. Footsies is pretty much controlling space with normals and like your good pokes, right? So let's say you're playing someone like Ryu from Street Fighter Basic. Your crouching medium kick is normally a good footsies tool. It extends far and it lets you poke from a good range and space out your opponent. Footsies is pretty much just the core essence of like your neutral game and using your pokes and stuff to space out your opponent and look for openings you can then convert into your combos and your advantage state. And well, yes, it's true, a lot of characters, pretty much all of them except for some neutral skippers, pretty much every character has to play footsies. There are some characters that excel at this, and well, what they do is pretty much they don't have any other significant strength, but they just have really good normals and maybe one or two special moves that allow them to really dominate the space and play neutral very well, and these are normally what we refer to as footsies characters. I should make a quick note here that Shoto characters, which if you don't know what that is, we got a video explaining it, don't you even worry, but Shotos often are also kind of footsie characters. A lot of them like to play footsies, like Ryu, for example. Ryu is the Shoto, but Ryu is a pretty good footsies guy. He likes spacing them out, stuff like that. Kai from Guilty Gear, another big one, definitely a Shoto character, but Kai can play some footsies, bro. He's got the nice normals, he's got the range with his sword, and Shotos tend to often play a lot of footsies and be pretty good to get used to footsies if you're just learning positioning and spacing in fighting games for the first time. Giving specific examples for how to show this is kind of hard, as footsies, spacing, and conversions are just things that come with playing fighting games. You will be probably very bad at it at the start, but once you start learning whatever game you're playing, you'll start understanding the ranges of certain moves, how long the recovery on them is, how to punish, etc. If you want a really good examples of how to play footsies, you just gotta look at the high level players. If you watch someone like Punk, for example, he'll teach you spacing and whiff punishing real fast because he just happens to be very good at it. It's something that you need to specifically practice and try not to use tools or like spam certain tactics that are kind of cheap. And even playing something like a Shoto character, or what we're going to talk about in a bit, the actual footsies characters, is a great way to get your neutral game better, work on your spacing, all that good stuff. Really good fundamentals. It's what makes a good footsies player. There is something else I should probably note though, and that's not all fighting games are really footsies games. Depending on what game you're playing, it could be more footsies focused or more combo and neutrally focused. It depends on the game. So for example, the most like footsies fighting games I'd say, or you're looking at something like Street Fighter, something like Grand Blue Fantasy Rising, and something like maybe KOF. These are really footsies heavy games. You need good neutral, you need good conversions, you need whiff punishes, all that good stuff and fighting game fundamentals you'll find in these games. These are really footsies heavy games. Then we have games like more like anime fighters like Blaze Blue, Under Night, stuff like that, where yes, you do have to play footsies, but there's a lot of characters that can kind of cheat this. There's a lot of neutral skippers, there are a lot of just air dash in and spam combos, stuff like that. Even something like Strive is a little bit more less neutral focused nowadays, although you need good neutral in every single game, do not get me wrong, but some games definitely reward good footsies and more calm gameplay more than others. In Guilty Gear, you can kind of get away with cheesing, running in, doing stuff, playing Ram Lethal, stuff like that. Where in Street Fighter, with a few exceptions of the kind of cringe-lord characters, you need good neutral. Street Fighter is a neutral-based game, and the better fundamentals player will normally always win, because there's not too much you can do to cheese out a good player in games like Street Fighter and KOF. But again, I do want to be clear, none of these rules are set in stone. Even Street Fighter has knowledge checks and stuff that can kind of cheese wins, but for the most part, they are more footsies-focused games than mostly just like the anime fighter stuff like like DBFZ and stuff like that, the games play like entirely differently, and you know, some games just reward fundamentals more than others, and some games just kind of have workarounds to allow bad neutral players to do different things to win the game. As for actual characters that are Footsies characters, it obviously varies game to game, but you're going to be looking for characters that have big, long normals that they can use to poke, or a special move that does it particularly well. If we take a look at Street Fighter, Ryu is obviously a Shoto, but a very good Footsies character. In Street Fighter V, someone like Karen was very good at whiff punishing and rewarded good neutral. Sagat, who recently got added to Street Fighter VI, is a crazy Footsies character with very long pokes with his insanely long legs. Even someone like Chun-Li is also a very, very good Footsies character and has been for many years at this point. In something like Guilty Gear and BlazBlue, again, they're less Footsies focused games, but characters like Kai in Guilty Gear and Jin in BlazBlue do reward that Shoto and like mid-range poke kind of archetype, so relying on them if you're playing those games and want to pick up some Footsies characters isn't a bad idea at all. In Under Night, pretty much everyone's a fucking full range zoner, so don't really worry about that. Skullgirls is a little bit different and kind of very character specific, so maybe not the best game to pick up neutral and Footsies in. Granblue is a very good one. Granblue has 3 different Shotos that all play a kind of a little differently, and they are very good Footsies characters. I think Catalina in specific, if you really just want to learn Footsies, that is one of the most solid Footsies characters. She will teach you fundamentals, she will teach you spacing, she'll teach you how to play from that nice mid-range. Catalina, if you want to learn Footsies, definitely a mega pickup if you can play or you want to play Granblue Fantasy. Characters like Vanguard in DNF Duel, also really good. He has huge normals, but he's kind of weak if someone gets in close, so it'll really teach you how to do the neutral game kind of thing. Another decent one. KOF also has a crazy amount of characters that are really good at Footsies and teaching you Footsies. KOF in general is a pretty decent game that rewards players with very good neutral. If you want like a kind of template for Footsie characters, they normally tend to either be Shotos or mid-range characters that just have some big weapon that lets them poke. For example, again, Ryu, Kai, Hyde, Jin, Catalina. These are all the Shotos of their games, but they are very good Footsies characters, whereas in something like Under Night or Skullgirl, characters like Gordeau and Parasol, although they play a bit differently, they still are kind of neutral Footsies because they have a big weapon that they can stay mid-range and poke with. So again, varies game to game, but if your character looks like they have very long limbs or a very long sword, they are normally pretty good at poking and being good Footsies characters that you can learn to pick up to increase how good your neutral game is. So TLDR, Footsies characters are characters that have good pokes while not necessarily specializing in anything. They can poke, they can keep people at a good mid-range, and they can overall just out-fundamental their opponent. That is the core of Footsies characters, and they are some of the best archetypes to pick up if you're new to fighting games. Footsies characters, Shoto characters, all amazing ways to start. So if you are new and you want to pick up a Footsies character, I definitely recommend one of the games that rewards good neutral more. So if you want to start with something like Street Fighter or KOF, because those games really reward good neutral. But other than that, that's pretty much it for Footsies characters. So please leave a comment of whatever you want to see next. Of course, subscribe to support your goat, please, and thank you. That would be very nice. And yeah, leave a comment of whatever you want me to cover next. We might start doing some other things other than explaining archetypes in a little bit, so please look forward to that. We try to post every Tuesday and Thursday here on this channel. So other than that, everyone, please have a good day, and more importantly, see what I did there, have a good night.